It is time to start the Madison School Board meeting. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, they sure did. They kept us on pace.
That was an awesome job there. I usually don't have all that assistance. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Melissa Walker.
Here.
Mrs. Cotterman.
Here.
Mr. Mosier.
Here.
Miss Amy Walker.
Here.
Mr. Wigton.
Here. I need a motion to adopt our agenda.
So moved.
Second.
I'll second.
Discussion. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Melissa Walker.
4.
Mrs. Cotterman.
4.
Mr. Mosier.
4.
Miss Amy Walker.
4.
Mr. Wigton.
4. Next, we have our approval of our previous board meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
I'll second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Miss Amy Walker.
4.
Mrs. Melissa Walker.
4.
Mr. Mosier.
4.
Mrs. Cotterman.
4.
Mr. Wigton.
4. Next, we have recognition of any visitors who would wish to address the board about one of the items on the agenda. If so, this is the time for that. Okay, seeing no one approaching. Presentation of certificates.
Good evening. Tonight we have the pleasure of recognizing all of the students who scored a perfect score on the 2023 spring state tests. So if those students would just come forward, Mr. Peterson will present you with your certificate, and then you can just stay up here so we can get a picture. A perfect score on grade 3 English Language Arts, Chaslyn Zahner. Perfect score, grade 5 mathematics, Liam Barr. Abigail Christ. Troy Kegley. And Catherine Myers. Perfect score on the American Government test, Tyler Batchelor. Justin Gibson. And Andrew Levisky. Perfect scores on the grade 3 mathematics test, James Lang. Jackson Turner. Lauren Foster. And Miranda Miller. Perfect scores on the grade 6 math test, Jack Foster. Perfect score on the grade 4 math test, McKeelan Jarvis. Daniel Jang. Gavin Moore. Eleanor Sidwell. Beckham White. And we have 2 students that not only scored perfect on the 4th grade math test, but also the 4th grade language arts test. Those students are Clayton Hayes and William Owens.
That's impressive.
We'd just like to congratulate all students on your achievements. Please stay put for a moment while Mr. Gordon takes your picture.
Yeah, you guys want to sit down? You guys sit down here?
Yeah, step up this way a little bit. Step up, step up, step up, step up.
Like Jackie, go behind. He's taller than me. That's possible.
Here, Dave. Keep moving down, Jack. Moving down.
Right. Yeah, I was gonna say she was younger.
Awesome. Great job, guys. Good.
Thank you, and congratulations to all those students. That's a lot of effort on their part to do that, and I know parents and teachers have worked hard on that. Administrative committee reports. Anything from the legislative committee?
No report.
Okay. Athletic Board of Control.
No report.
Student representative comments. Do we have a student representative tonight from the high school? Oh, there she is. Get lost in all those.
Yeah, I know, there's a lot of us. Okay, so there's a lot going on in the Madison community, as always. Madison sports started their tournaments. Girls soccer won their first tournament game last night and will move on to play in the district semifinals next Wednesday. Boys soccer has their semifinal game this Saturday. Football had their big win for the season 2 weeks ago against Mount Vernon and play their final game this Friday against Mansfield Senior. Volleyball is starting tournaments as well. Cross-country runners are having many people go to the next round in tournaments. Tennis finished their season out strong in tournaments as well. Along with all of that, we had our PBIS event at the high school. This event went so well, and it was awesome to see many Madison students get engaged in the Madison Fun. I'm also very excited to announce NHS is holding an annual Powerpuff Ball game for all high school girls on November 5th. Also, Manufacturing Tech is putting on a haunted house in the high school to support Mary Madison Christmas. All in all, Madison first 9 weeks ended very strong, and we are excited for the second 9 weeks.
Thank you. Facilities report? Okay, that works. Board Policy Committee?
No report.
Okay. Student achievement?
Okay, so at Madison South, the first graders are off to a great start. 88% of students passed the Unit 2 and 3 Foundations test. At Eastview, they celebrated their first quarter PBIS event, which was disco bowling. 84.5% of the students were able to attend. The third graders just completed round 1 of state testing this week. This year, their building had an increase in the amount of students who tested on reading level to start the year when compared to last year's number. They're off to a great start. At the middle school, they had a successful Donuts with Divas event at the middle school on Thursday, the 12th, that had over 200 people in attendance. 8th grade student Caden Graff had his artwork selected to be on display at the Mansfield Art Center's Crow Fest. At the high school for Career Tech, students are preparing for Skills USA. Students are preparing for the Fall Leadership Conference taking place in November. They have 6 students who will be running for regional officer positions to represent the Northwest region in the local Madison chapter. Those students are Chloe Davis, Ava Huff, Lillian Truax, Gage Masters, Emma Stankovich, and Lucas Stallings. The Business Professionals of America, the following students have qualified to run for regional officer positions: Hannah Bell, Justin Gibson, Colin Carroll, Alexa Rose, Layla Zahner, Haley Vernon, Nick Balg, and Caitlin Hubbard. Those students will be representing Madison at the Fall Leadership Conference this month. Also at the high school, 6 seniors from the high school's National Honor Society spent a Sunday afternoon this month at the Madison Community Youth Park. Alongside the park staff, they cleaned up the park and bathrooms, took down signs, stained the handicap accessible ramp, and completed many other necessary projects to get the park ready for the winter months ahead. The group consisted of Megan Reynolds, Callie Cyrus, Kendall Kuhn, Jillian Connard, Aiden Mooneyham, and Justin Gibson. National Honor Society is founded on 4 pillars, one of which is service. This is the group's 3rd year volunteering at the park. From Park Board member Bill McFarland, again, we say thank you to the NHS members, and we look forward to seeing you next year. Madison students do make a difference. And lastly, at the Career Center, 10 out of 12 students passed STNA certification testing. 6 out of 6 students passed the phlebotomy certification testing. 1 out of 1 passed the medical assisting certification testing, and 2 out of 2 students passed the Ohio State Board of Cosmetology nail technician licensure. So that's a total of 90% overall certification licensure pass rate. And that's it.
Thank you. Superintendent's update?
Yeah, just a few items to update you all on. Our first grading period ended last Friday. Parent-teacher conferences are scheduled for tomorrow night and next Tuesday. Tomorrow will be our second senior citizen luncheon of the year. Again, that'll be 2 sessions. The first one starting at 11 o'clock, the second session starting at 12:30. And the entertainment for tomorrow will be provided by our middle schoolers. The first edition this year of the district newsletter will be going out shortly, should arrive at households either late October, early November. And I just want to remind you that that district newsletter is funded through COVID ESSER funds. We don't use general fund money to send those out. And then lastly, I think we're all well aware of this, but the November 7th election is less than 3 weeks away, and that election will, the outcome of that election will determine quite a lot for our school district moving forward. That's all I have to report.
Okay, thank you. Our presentation tonight is Mifflin Elementary. Mr. Stump.
Good evening. My name is Tyson Wemling, and I am the president of Mifflin Student Council. Tonight we are excited to share with you all of the exciting things that have happened at Mifflin over the past year. We hope you enjoy learning more about our amazing school. Now I would like to introduce our principal, Mr. Stump.
Good evening. Sorry, I know I will be the most boring part of your presentation tonight, but let's start with the worst and we'll end with the best. So here we go. So looking at our report card from last year, you can see that we did end up with 4 stars, and we're excited about that. We did exceed our state standards, and that's due to our students, our staff, and our parents. I mean, without our community, we know that 4 would not have been possible, so we're very appreciative. I did outline 5 points that I thought were our highlights from our report card. The first one, you can see we did increase our K-3 literacy score from 2 to 3, meaning we met our state standard. And number 2, we did earn the max score of 5 stars in gap closing, showing both achievement and growth in our subgroups. Those subpopulations did change a little bit this past year, as you'll see in points 3 and 4. For the first time, Mifflin had enough students that we actually had a performance index score for our gifted students. For example, I know that just in our 4th grade this year alone, we are servicing 9 students at Mifflin who are identified as gifted, 3 of those both in reading and in math. So very exciting whenever we have those numbers increase, and we know that as educators we need to do more for those kids specifically to make them grow and challenge them appropriately. Point 4, we also had a new subgroup of special education, more students being identified that need to be served through special ed on an IEP, and they did meet their benchmark on the report card. So very proud of those kids, the teachers, and the intervention specialists for really hitting that strong and making that mark. And then point number 5, we did have over half of our students earn advanced or accomplished on state testing when you combine reading and math together, and then an additional 20% of students that they were proficient meeting state standards. So overall with that, we are super proud of our kids and the effort they put into it. They took it very seriously, and very proud of our youngsters. Good job, guys. Looking at the state averages, you can see that in all 4 groups we were above the state average in achievement. So that's always exciting. Something we want to make sure that we're striving for is to make sure that we're above that mark, and we did hit that with all 4 of the areas that we are tested in. Awards and recognition, there were 4 big awards that we did receive last year. The first of which we've talked about, our Distinguished Honor from the National ESCA Distinguished Schools. Still super proud of that, so hitting that strong and making sure that we're achieving and growing our kids each and every day. You'll see the next 2 awards, those have been renewed. You'll see the Purple Star Award, that was actually renewed last April, and so for the next 3-year period, we are considered a Purple Star school, again, for our military supports that we offer. Next to that, you see our Ohio PBIS Network Bronze Award, and that's through our interventions to support behaviors and social emotional learning. That was renewed just last month in September, so very excited and proud of our Mifflin staff and students for earning that as well. And then finally, we have the Super Stretch School Award from iReady. Basically, as students come in and take a diagnostic assessment, they are given growth targets they are supposed to hit by the end of the school year, and our kids not only hit those growth targets, but they actually exceeded past stretch growth targets, which are very difficult to hit. So we did get that from Curriculum Associates. Very proud, once again, of the hard work and effort that goes into earning something like that. So well done to all Mifflin community, because we know it takes a team, it takes a village. Next, you'll see a slide. You see the beginning of our year and our end of year diagnostic data. That was our math. You can see the increase from August, September into that April, May period. The dark green with the bars through it, that means they are above grade level. Green, it's either early or on grade level. And then yellow, 1 year. Red, 2 years, and then the red with the bars through it, it's 2 or more than 2 years below grade level. So as you can see from start to finish, there was a lot of growth last year in math. Something that's exciting is that we actually saw even more growth in reading, and that's the next slide. We ended the year with 61% of our kids in that dark green with the bars through it, starting at 10, going to 61. If you ever need proof that summer slide is real, there it is. All right, so we're not surprised, we're not alarmed when we see those beginning of year marks, because we know when we do our jobs like we're supposed to, that's the result that we can get, and every kid is capable of that. So very, very proud of them for that as well. We did seek out many grant opportunities last year. We thought that that was important just to be fiscally responsible. You can see the first one was for our One School, One Book initiative. Yes, that was stolen directly from Eastview, and we're very grateful for that. We did get $1,500 from the Richland County Foundation. We will have a student reporting on that because that was a huge success. We are doing it again this year, so I'm very appreciative for all that the organization has done for us. We did get $500 from the Directions Credit Union for a 3rd grade econ unit. And we did get this year over $1,800 for kindergarten science manipulatives from Richland County Foundation. Kindergarten science standards are interesting. They're maybe very simplified. It's their first introduction to science. So getting those resources through that grant, that's just bringing science to life. It's giving them something to actually touch and manipulate and work with in the classroom. So very thankful that they decided to sponsor that. Recently, we also found out that as a district, we did receive a grant for state high-dosage tutoring programs. And we're actually partnering with Catapult Learning West, and that is a state-approved vendor, and they'll be providing intervention support. For the first time, aside from what teachers just can do in the classroom or during intervention block, they are also providing intervention for math. So that's really exciting for us to actually add that to what we have for reading and then really beef up so these kids can get what they need to be successful. Through our Ohio Safety Grant, you can see there are really three huge areas that we improved on through our safety. The first is being, increased cameras, increased vision to where we can see some of those blind spots they weren't able to see in the past. Increased solidity. Our doors, some of our doors at Mifflin were original to the building, and they had many window panes in them, 9 window pane doors, that I always thought if somebody would happen to make a very unwise choice, that wasn't very safe for our kids. So we did replace all of those doors with solid doors, just to make sure that that barrier was there. And then you can see that night lock system that is present for every door now. So that's really where a majority of those funds were spent, and I really think that we really did a good job of managing that correctly to make sure that we are making sure our students and our staff are safe. A facility update very quickly. Hopefully you guys had a chance to drive past Mifflin and you saw the addition of the new driveway from Galaxy. It did eliminate the traffic on Reed Road, which I know is probably our biggest concern, because that kind of made it very difficult to pass through. Now there is no traffic left on Reed, whether it's drop off or pickup. We are clear to go. There is some slight traffic on Galaxy on Fridays. Apparently people want to start the weekend as soon as possible, so we have more kids being picked up on Fridays. I would say that it's equally as efficient, though, with our new system in place, and families have been excellent in adapting to that new system. So it's a very quick transition, and I'm just very proud of what that was able to achieve, and again, kind of promote that safety aspect for both our students and just community members in general. All right, so I think I'm done. That was the boring stuff. So now I'm going to introduce one of our student council members, our first grader, Blake. Blake, come on up.
Do you want to take the microphone out of the holder and let them hold it? Makes it easier.
Last year, we had a STEAM museum and forces and motion. We got to earn it with our good points. Now, here's Ella.
Good job.
This is my second year on student council. Last year I was third grade class representative, and this year as a fourth grader I am the principal's ambassador. This means that I communicate with Mr. Stump when we have ideas, and he talks to me about things he needs from us as well. This year we have 16 members of our student council. First and second graders were elected as class representatives by their teachers, and third and fourth graders got to campaign and be elected by our peers. Last year in student council, we did a candy cane drive and a staff appreciation breakfast. We also got to be buddy mentors with some of the younger students in the school. At the end of the year, we celebrated our successful year by going bowling together. It is such a privilege to get to be a leader in my school. Now third grader Emmett will be talking about last year's field trips.
Last year in second grade, we got to take a field trip to Cosign. It was so much fun. We got to take all kinds of fun science experiments, activities while we were there. Science experiments and activities while we were there. We saw dinosaur bones and we got to lift up a car. Every grade level got to take field trips last year. Thanks to the money we raised from our readathon, other field trips including the Columbus Zoo, the Gorman Nature Center, the Bird Sanctuary, Malabar Farm, and the Bug Zoo. We are so thankful to have gotten these opportunities. Next, second grader Madeline will tell you all about One Book, One School.
Last year we did One Book, One School. Everyone in the school read Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Our teacher would read us one chapter each week, and we would also have different activities we would do for each chapter. We would have Kahoot games we could play each week to win a chocolate bar. And we also did a Charlie and the Chocolate Factory theme around the school. Sometimes they would hide golden tickets for us to find and the winners would get prizes. It was a lot of fun to be reading the same book and have something we could talk about together as a whole school. This led us to a great celebration at the end of the book, which third grader Ember will be talking more about.
At the end of reading Charlie and the Chocolate Factory as a whole school, we had a celebration night. We could do fun activities like making our own chocolate bars, an obstacle course in the gym, making shrinky-dink keychains, and we could also find mystery golden tickets around the school to spell a phrase. We also had pizza and snacks. It was a lot of fun. Next, fourth grade representative Kennedy will tell you more about how we incorporated Oompa Loompas into our goal setting.
To go along with our Charlie and the Chocolate Factory theme for last year, we used Oompa Loompas to track our goals in the cafeteria. We had goals set for our ready lessons, and each time our class met our goal, we got to move Oompa Loompas around the cafeteria. We were competing against each other to see who could move their Oompa Loompa the furthest. The class who had the highest percentage of achievement on our ready each week also got to display a banner outside their classroom for a week. Next, second grader Zaya will be telling you about our author visit.
Last year, author and illustrator Steve Harpster visited our school. He showed us a lot of drawings and we got to try them out on paper. He would also give us numbers and letters to put together to make an animated creature. We could even make them move. That was so much fun. Now, fourth grade, Amelia will be telling you all about the Madison Olympics.
Good evening, my name is Amelia Ramsey. Last year I got to compete in the Madison Olympics. We had different events like the 50-meter, 100-meter, and 400-meter runs. I got to participate in a long jump where I had to try to jump as far as I could. I got third place in this event. 2 years ago when I was in second grade, Mifflin came in third place in the Olympics. Last year we improved and came in second place. It was such a fun night. Now first grader Kenny will be talking about our Purple Up Day.
Last spring, we got to plant flowers outside of Mifflin to help make our school more beautiful. We also worked with members of the military who came out from the Air Force Base and helped us plant flowers. We also got to paint rocks to put out the school. Even though it rained that day, we still enjoyed getting to plant flowers with members of our community. Now, third grader Macy will be talking about Veterans Day celebration.
Last year when I was in second grade, we performed an assembly to celebrate our military members for Veterans Day. We sang the Star-Spangled Banner along with other songs and showed them how much we appreciated them. Later in the year, we had a military breakfast where we honored our Mifflin families who have served in the military. We love to support our military at Mifflin. Next up, our Student Council Secretary, Lauren, is going to tell you about her experience with the state tests.
Last year in third grade, we had our first experience of state testing. It was a little overwhelming at first, but our teachers were really good about helping us prepare so that we felt more confident. They would help us learn how to use the tools on the testing site. We'd also take practice tests to prepare for the real test. All of the preparation paid off, and I earned a perfect score on my math test. Now, second grader Ava will be talking about our fun field day.
Last spring, when I was in first grade, we had Fun Field Day. We got to participate in different events outside, such as Tinker Tingross and hula hooping. We even had bouncy houses. At the end of the day, the winning class from each grade got to compete against the teachers in tug-of-war. We really enjoyed spending the day outside doing fun activities together. Next, first grader Jax will be talking about our grandparents' lunch.
Last year, my grandma and papa got to have lunch with me. I loved it. Now here is Naomi.
Already this year we had a special visit by Parker Basketball Jones. He did a lot of cool tricks with the basketball and he even autographed a basketball while it was spinning on his pen. He talked to us about the importance of our school motto, lead, learn, love, and about showing kindness to others and always believing in ourselves. He even stressed the importance of using good manners. Now, our Vice President Olivia has a few closing words for you.
Thank you for taking the time to listen to all of the exciting things that have been happening at Mifflin. We love our school and are thankful for the opportunity to share all of the things that we love. We learn, love Mifflin!
Thank you.
Thank you. That was great. Okay, next on our agenda, I need a motion to approve donations from the Veterans of Foreign Wars of Ohio Charities.
So moved.
Second,
I'll second.
discussion.
Mr. Mosier?
4.
Mrs. Melissa Walker?
4.
Mrs. Cotterman?
4.
Miss Amy Walker?
4.
Mr. Wigton?
4. Next, we need a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
So moved.
Second,
I'll second.
discussion.
All right. So this time around, on the revenues page, in addition to what I usually put on, I added a small table this month to address how the district got to the point we are financially, and and why we're in deficit spending. So the how's pretty simple, because for the past 3 out of the 4 years, we've been in deficit spending, meaning we're spending more than we're bringing in. To address the why, I added a table, that table at the bottom. The table has a year-over-year percentage of revenues on that top row. So if you look at it, from 2016 to 2017, there was an increase of 2.91% in revenues. From 2017 to 2018, there was a 1.62% increase in revenues, and so on. And then in the middle row, that shows the increase in expenditures year over year. So for 2016 to 2017, there was a 5.3% increase in expenditures. Fiscal year 18, there was actually a decrease, but that was because they took premium holidays. But needless to say, that's what the numbers are. And then on the bottom row, that shows the expenditure increase over the revenue increase. So, for example, 2016 to 2017, expenditures increased 2.39% more than revenues. 1% in between revenues, or 1% of expenditures, is about $340,000. So that's pretty significant. So as I stated in the narrative on the report, right now, September, we're a quarter of the way through the fiscal year. And so far, year-to-date, expenditures have increased about 2.8% more than revenues have increased. So what I did on the next one, this graph is not in the monthly report, but this graph here basically is a table. It's a graph that illustrates how the compounding effect of expenses increasing faster than revenue, what it does. So the expenditures are in the red, the revenues are in the blue. So you can see in 2022, there was a $1.5 million space between the revenues and the expenditures. And then in 2023, that compounded to $3.1 million. So when expenditures increase at a faster rate than revenues, that graph just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So that is the why we continue to go into deficit spending. On the expenditure side, everything was the same as before. So far, in September, expenditures were down slightly from last September, and so far fiscal year to date, expenditures are down slightly from last fiscal year to date. And the other pages are the same as they were before. Do we have any questions on that before I move on to the appropriations? Okay, and then the appropriations it's just a change, just an addition, because as budgets come in and things change, I have to have the appropriations resolution voted on and sent to the county auditor. Any questions before I move on? Ready? Miss Amy Walker?
4.
Mrs. Cotterman?
4.
Mrs. Melissa Walker?
4.
Mr. Mosier?
4.
Mr. Wigton?
4. Okay, next we have our strategic plan of communication engagement action team.
Good evening. Here to update you since last time we talked. We are part of the communication engagement plan. Our overall goal was for Madison local schools to engage with families and community members through clear, concise, and timely communication. So we've been working on this for the last couple of years, trying to make progress and how to achieve that goal. And so we've been working with the school's technology department, one area that we've been focusing on, to review school communication platform options, just to see what's available. Do we want to continue using what we have? Is that the best option? So we've met and with the technology team. They also went through and we had some different seminars and some different things pitched to us as well about what other options are there. But we continued on with using eSchoolView, just trying to maybe look at now how to better utilize all of their possible options that they have for communication with the community as well. So we continued on with them, and then we looked at some short-term recommendations and some fixes that we can do on our end as a district, trying to put everything as concise and in one spot and making it easier for the community to stay engaged and stay in the loop with everything. So we've done that. We put all of our different social media information now is on the website, so we can just find it one spot at mlsd.net. Go down to the district info tab and you click on the social media and all of our different schools for each building. It's all right there. You can access it all from there now, so that was a quick and easy fix. We also discussed how we can move forward just to utilize what we have, how to make sure we're getting the most out of it. We have a school app that is tied into the eSchoolView that not a lot of people knew that was there, and we had it's out there, so we're trying to work on how to best clean that up, use it to the best of our ability, and include some training with that as well to make sure that we're utilizing the best things that we do have. So.
And I would add that we have basically 3 strategies: the implement, the short-term recommendations, and quick fixes. And a lot of those are currently still in process. We are working on some refresher training options for staff, the Google Calendar, implementing that into the different websites. We postponed our we were a little ambitious. We thought we'd have that by September, and a lot of things happen in September. So we're going to push our target date back to December, and I think you have the updated version with you. So again, with the training, and promote that app. The app, if you subscribe to it, your morning begins with, here's what's happening in Madison today. So the more buildings we get on board with that, the more departments, I think the more informed everyone's going to be. And the more we get people aware of the app and downloading it, the more everybody's going to be on the same page. The second strategy would be implement guidelines and procedures to improve social media communication directly from the school. We found there's probably 1 million different social media, especially Facebook pages that mention Madison. So having the school promoted sites in one place, easily acceptable, easily recognizable, so that we can eliminate some confusion. Establish guidelines and procedures for social media posting from the school and all the officials, and what should be out there, how should that be posted, comments, those types of things. So again, adding some more training there. And our third strategy is that comprehensive district-wide communication plans, which includes all of those elements of what we just talked about. In addition to that, who are some key stakeholders that could help us with that plan? Who are some key stakeholders that could review that? Who's putting information out there, building level, department level, those types of things. So again, a few more adjusted timelines, probably a little more realistic than where we started. We were an ambitious group, and then we lost half of our members, so we need to actively recruit a few more. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, next I need a motion to adopt item L, matters related to personnel. And there are items on the addendum as well.
So moved.
Second. Discussion. Roll call.
Mrs. Melissa Walker.
4.
Mr. Mosier. 4. Mrs. Cotterman.
4.
Miss Amy Walker.
4.
Mr. Wigton.
4. And that takes us back to M, superintendent's business. I need a motion to accept these items.
I'll move. I'll second.
Discussion.
The only item I'd like to address is item number 3, and that resolution we've been through before. Legislation was passed this summer in the budget bill that allows us to use substitutes and do so on a permanent basis, use substitutes that do not have bachelor's degrees. In the past, it had been approved in legislation a year at a time, a couple years at a time, and now we are able to make that permanent. So this doesn't necessarily mean that we will do it permanently, but it allows us to do so. That's all I have.
Okay, any other discussion? If not, roll call, please.
Miss Amy Walker.
4.
Mrs. Melissa Walker.
4.
Mr. Mosier. 4. Mrs. Cotterman.
4.
Mr. Wigton.
4. That brings us to item N, visitor comments, and these can be any comments on any topic that needs to be addressed to the board. Anyone wishing to do that? Okay, moving on. Our next regular board meeting will be November 15th here at 6 o'clock. And I need a motion to adjourn. So moved.
I'll second.
Doug and Melissa. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Mosier. 4. Mrs. Melissa Walker.
4.
Mrs. Cotterman.
4.
Miss Amy Walker.
4.
Mr. Wigton.
4. And that concludes the Madison Board of Education meeting for October.